crew here for the Roundtable segment. A lot to talk about this week ahead of the Falcons matchup later on today. Probably the biggest thing to talk about is no Ramondre Stevenson. And we've talked a little bit about the Patriots' inconsistency in the run game, but just how much of an effect is that loss?
Well, whenever people look at a running back room and you think you've got too many, just play a season, because that's what's happened to the Patriots now, right? Gibson goes down, he's done for the year. Now you're really down to two backs. Now you're down to one maybe that you trust and somebody that you brought into the organization during the season. So it's crazy how this can kind of get away from you, but it's no different than anything else, right? Next man up. You're not going to get a ton of carries out of maybe whomever is behind Henderson and however they decide to manage this. So Henderson's got to step up a little bit. And this might be one of those games where I know I just mentioned we haven't seen a lot of five wide and, give me the ball, let me throw it. But maybe out of necessity, if the running game doesn't get going, maybe it does turn into let's put four wide receivers on the field because we're a little thin in the running back room.
Now, Morgan, obviously you don't want players to get injured, but talking about TreVeyon Henderson, is this in a little bit of a way a confidence boost for him, knowing that he's going to get plenty of snaps today?
I don't know if it would be a confidence boost for him. It would be a confidence boost for him if he does well and shows out. But I think it is kind of primes him for a blowout game if he performs the way that everybody else seemingly thinks he can perform. But it's definitely all on his shoulders now, unless you think they might trade for somebody.
No, but what will be really interesting is how they end up dealing with third down, right? Yeah. Because now if Henderson's got to play more on first and second, it probably takes him out of the return game, number one. And then how do they manage third down? And if they do, are they putting in, are they putting a fullback in there? Are they going to line a tight end up beside Drake May to kind of help protect? There are ways you could scheme it up. But my biggest question is, how are they going to handle third down? Because if you need Henderson on first and second, you can't give him a full load of 75 plays, I don't think, if they run that many today.
No, I think it's important to note that the weight shouldn't all solely lie on the running backs. Drake May has shown over the season that he has progressed and he is the quarterback of the future for the Patriots. Kind of what role are you guys expecting for him to play this afternoon?
Well, I think for Drake May, it's keep doing what you're doing, but maybe let's sprinkle in a little bit of the run game. There are things that you can do out of the pistol, out of the gun, to where you can have some, jet motion, and that even is how you can sort of ride your ball fake if you want to. I think what we haven't seen from Drake May is the designed runs, and that comes from obviously Josh McDaniels, and you don't want to get him hurt. He's done a really good job in play action. However, his legs could be important today, not just in the, hey, it's broken down man-to-man, I can beat that linebacker, let me run and make some people miss. I'm talking about 3rd and 3, you're dialing up quarterback power and putting extra fat people in the game to be able to get that objective done with the quarterback running the ball.
Morgan, do you think it's good to see that, obviously you don't want him to throw that interception against the Browns, but the fact that he was able to bounce back the way he did.
And he also noted that. He's like, we bounced back, we recovered from it, and he played well the entire rest of the game. And it was funny, Mike Vrabel mentioned the sliding thing when he is going to run. He's like, we might need to send him to spring training next year. But everybody seemingly has confidence in him. Morgan Moses spoke to it earlier this week, saying it's been magical watching him, and he wants the best for this team, and he's kind of rubbing off on everybody else.
Well, and I think even for second-year quarterbacks, listen, you still have the ability to fill the back of your britches pretty quickly, and we haven't seen that from Drake May yet. There's a dud coming. Like, it's going to happen. He's a second-year quarterback. This is still a growing football team for as much as we're all hot and bothered over them being 6-2, and that's okay. We need Drake May to go through some strife and strain. I wasn't okay with the pick. It was a terrible pick. But to your point, Morgan, I love the way he rebounded after that. It didn't affect him. No slow singing and flower bringing in his head. He just got the job done. This kid has stacked week after week after week. And it's not time to turn him loose 5 wide yet, but it's time to start to mix in those runs.
Looking at the other side of the ball, Marcus Jones, quite the week for him. Did you expect the progression that he would have had this
No,
year?
you know what I did, and I thought because he's a guy who, okay, slot corner. Everybody in the NFL needs a slot corner, regardless of whether you're running predominantly zone or man. And I think some of the dudes that were sent out of here just don't fit the defense. It's not that they're bad players, but to me, Marcus Jones was a guy that can kind of fit in a lot of defenses because you just tell him, go the slot and go play man, and he can go do that. You can tell he's explosive. He has value in the return game. I'm a little surprised at the price point for a slot corner, but
he doesn't have an agent, by the way.
Well, and you
I
know
think that's
what?
more impressive that he was able
well,
to
you know what?
negotiate.
That's still a pretty good deal, then, quite honestly. And it goes to show that the Patriots treated him with respect. Because Lord knows in any walk of life, if you don't have anybody to advocate for you, the company will take advantage of it. So let's just be real about that. But this is one where he gets paid, and they do it ahead of Christian Gonzalez, who we know has got to get the first of what will be a couple of different big paydays coming down the line. So New England's got to manage the budget a little bit. I do believe they're still over the cap for next year, so they got some massaging to do. But you bring in another crop of draft picks, and it's a bunch of cheap labor for 5 years.
All right, great stuff, guys. Still ahead.